ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Dharma Digs podcast in pursuit of purposeful living. I'm your host, Taylor Winchester, and as I always say, I am extremely grateful that you have decided to take a little bit of time out of your day to stop by and tune into this podcast. So thanks once again for being here. And for those of you that are new to this program, I appreciate you as well. This podcast is exploring conversations around how creatives and entrepreneurs find purpose within those things that they do. And I appreciate you being here. Check out some of the past conversations. Today's conversation, actually, though, is with a friend of mine that I've met here recently in the Charlotte music scene. His name is Jason Jett. It's technically, I think it's Jason Jones, but he goes by Jason Jett. And Jason has recently opened up a brand new recording facility here in Charlotte. It's called Grindhaus Studios. And it's a really cool concept, which he'll share a little bit more about in this conversation. Jason's also a producer, songwriter, all around good dude for as long as I've got to know him anyways. And so, yeah, without further ado, let's jump right into the conversation. I will let Jason introduce himself here in just a few minutes as well. So thank you again for being here. If you like what you hear, please subscribe on all the podcast platforms and or tap that button on YouTube if you're watching over there. But most importantly, I appreciate you being here and hope you enjoy the conversation. What's up, everybody? Thanks for joining us. I got Jason Jett here on the Dharma Digs podcast. What's up, Jason? How you doing, buddy?
Man, I'm doing great. I hope you are.
Thanks
for having me.
Yeah, I'm doing great. I'm grateful that you have taken a little bit of time out of your busy day, man, to join us here. So thanks for obliging me.
No problem. Thank you.
I gave a quick introduction, but why don't you tell everybody just your quick kind of 60-second elevator pitch, if you will, on what you got going on. I know it's a lot these days, but yeah, tell us what you're up to.
Yeah, man. So it's I'm actually currently in my studio. We'll get to that in a few minutes here, I'm sure. But I'm a creative that was actually probably like the only Black person in history born in Iceland.
What?
But really though, I grew up here in Charlotte. My parents were in the Navy, and they moved back here to the States, and I got a chance to experience music school and music in church and just being around a lot of music growing up. My dad's a musician, and so that's always inspired me very young to kind of get into it. And I started out on trombone, and went from trombone to drums. Then I went to piano. And my mom was very persistent about me staying in piano and evolving that muscle. So I did that all through high school and graduated from Northwest School of Arts. And then, I pursued, doing some music projects, small little projects. And then I ended up going to Full Sail University, where I studied music production and recording arts. And I played in a few bands. I played in a blues band. I was the only Black guy in the band. It was really dope, though. It was one of the best experiences ever. Except for this one night, we actually had a show. I don't know why it was 30 degrees in Orlando, Florida, but it was 30 degrees in Orlando, Florida. And that one cold day, we happened to play outside. So I remember shivering while playing in Florida in 30-degree weather.
Jeez. I didn't realize you went to Full Sail, man. So I did I did the Entertainment Business Master of Science, they called it, through Full Sail. Wow. I didn't go. I did everything virtually, so I didn't even go down there for like graduation or anything, which I kind of kicked myself in hindsight now.
Have you actually toured this facility?
Never even been there, man. That's what I'm saying. I kicked myself because I haven't. But I know.
I'm gonna need you to make that trip.
That's cool. I didn't realize, that you studied there too. So you were on site doing that program then, I take it down there.
Yeah. So this is well before they even offered the online program. Okay. This is 2009. And this is actually the year before they turned it into a university. So before university was called Full Sail Real World Education.
Yep. Yeah, so I did that program in 2010, so they must have started, it wasn't production, it was just strictly like entertainment business stuff, which now, and I also wish I had some more hands-on production experience, but I'm gonna come, we'll talk about that, I'm gonna come to Grindhaus and get that in there, so you were born in Iceland. You were born in Iceland, I didn't realize that either, that's cool.
Yeah, man.
Did you,
Yeah.
I mean, how long were you there? Tell me again. Did you may have just mentioned it, but when did you move to the States?
Yeah. So we were only there for about a year.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's wild.
not even a full year.
That's
Hmm.
wild. That's wild. Yeah, so you and I haven't really had a lot of opportunity to work together. We kind of, I think I was first introduced to you through Daily, when we were working on the Confluence stuff out at Whitewater
Hmm.
Center, and
I remember.
which is was great to kind of, it was great for me to expand my network here, and what Day, I'm actually connecting with Day later this week, but just what, connecting the different like silos of the community here, which I feel like is similar what you're doing in the context of Grindhouse. I mean, you're really creating, and tell everybody real quick what that is, but you're creating this kind of accessible, open community atmosphere within,
Right.
and not to put words in your mouth, but that's what I'm gathering based off the brand thus far. So tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah. So I created Grindhouse to be a space where musicians and creative artists, really anybody that's doing any kind of audio, um, they can come and have a space to work in, and it be a community space. So what I mean by that is there's a lot of places where you can record songs and have studios, um, but they all follow the traditional model. And so a few years ago, I started looking at co-working spaces, and I love the model, but there wasn't anything for music. And you kind of get a taste of it with maybe like the playroom, which caters more towards live music or rehearsal spaces in a sense. But for the recording aspect and being able to get what you need done, whether it be a podcast or cutting a single or just getting some simple vocals, like nowadays you don't have to be in $1 million room to have quality. You just got to have someone who knows what they're doing, and then just have a great sounding room.
Yeah.
And so if you can make those two things happen, then you can do it. So fast forward a couple of years, we find this spot, and I'm just like, okay, it's time to start putting it into action. And so me and my friend Cupid, we actually built the whole thing from the ground up. We built all the rooms, all the walls, acoustically treated. I mean, we did. I spent weeks just researching what's going to be the best walls, the best way to do the wood studs for the highest STC ratings. Like, it's amazing to see what goes into creating a soundproof, isolated, environment. Yeah.
Yeah. So I can call you for that next home reno project that I might have come up or something.
Pretty much, dude.
Yeah.
I could do it. I just don't hire me to do floors. I did the whole floors here, and I don't want to do them anymore.
Yeah. That was a cool thing following along. I don't think I followed the studio's Instagram and stuff until probably beyond. You had already posted all of that, but following your personal page, kind of seeing you weren't holding back, man, putting all the work into it, which is dope. I mean, I'm sure I can only imagine the feeling of success when it all opens up, and which you just recently did. But that's a good segue. I mean, I ask all my guests kind of within the framework of your creative nature, and I know we haven't really talked much about it, but obviously you released a lot of music on your own under Jason Jett as well. But I guess we can talk about that, or with the studio, like what do you feel like, and it's a little fresh to even really fully articulate this, but like how do you find, or how do you quantify maybe a sense of purpose out of what it is you're doing and creating there with Grindhouse Studios?
Yeah, it's really I don't know, it's tough, man. It's definitely tough. I think, like, because I've been so focused on just trying to get the space open, and getting the building done. I've literally just started creating the shift in my mind to get back more into the music. And like all 2020, I didn't make any music. So even the singles that I released, they were all done in 2019.
Okay.
And so I don't know. I think that the vision is actually bigger than what I thought, and to see it manifested, it's been much bigger. And the response from people, it's crazy because like all the stuff that I posted, the whole journey of Grindhouse, people were liking it and stuff, but it wasn't getting that much traction, at least not until like last month or so when it's closing up. That's when I'm starting to see the magnitude of, what this could be, what it is and what it could be. Like, I feel that it's kind of like Facebook in its early phases, right? Like, you don't know what it is, but we know it's something.
Yeah.
But you gotta be open long enough to figure out what it is. And I kind of feel like that's kind of where we're at. Like, it's like we're testing this whole new model, and we know what it is, but we don't know at the same time, like in terms of like how people are gonna gravitate. And it's dope. We have some members. Like, every day I wake up and we see a member sign up online. I think that's a great win.
100%.
So
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I mean, it's still in its infancy, like you said. The real kind of creation work and building it out is there. Now it in some ways it'll take on its life of its own, as it grows.
mm-hmm.
But and that's, I think, what's so cool about it is because the model that you just described a few minutes ago and kind of the approach you're taking is unique in a lot of ways, but also it's kind of stealing from these other models that aren't music specific. But I mean, I can't wait to see as it really starts to build even more steam what comes of all of it. It's really
Thank you. And what's really wild, and I guess to answer that question even more is, to put it in perspective, they know me as Jason Jett, and I've done my things, but all these interviews and stuff I've been having, they're calling to interview Grindhaus.
Yeah.
And so it's dope to see, like, okay, well, it actually makes the Jason Jett brand look really cool because, it's behind Grindhaus, but Grindhaus it does literally have its own legs. Like, WCCB called because they're like, we want to do an interview about Grindhaus, and then we want to hear about Jason Jett's music. I'm like, dude, y'all don't even care about me.
Yeah, y'all don't care about me. Well, I mean, but that's the cool thing is that and when all is said and done, it's like it's you've created its own legacy. You know what I mean? And obviously, it's still, we just mentioned, in its infancy, so you've got a ways to go, and there's so much more story to be told with that. But I mean, you maybe you didn't necessarily like write it down as this or think about it on the front end, but it's definitely going to be bigger than you, and it's going to be something that so many people look back on as things go on, and it's really cool because I think it'll do something very specific and unique in a lot of ways, and we might not know exactly what that is, but for the city of Charlotte, let's just hope it doesn't have all the negative stuff that Facebook has now that it's gotten to where it is. I don't think it will, but
oh yeah. I definitely, we're gonna keep it positive.
yeah, for sure. So, well, tell us a little bit about that membership real quick. How does that work? Because I know a lot of folks that I've kind of talked to and stuff that are aspiring, songwriters, musicians, people that want to get their music out there. What's the model? How could they, best utilize that membership?
Yeah. So, and that's something that we're figuring out every day too. It's like we have this model, right? But it evolves. It's evolving. So, but right now it's beautiful. I feel like it's very strong. So we have a membership based model because the whole premise is to kind of even create it like a YMCA. I think of it more as a YMCA for music. So you pay a monthly membership, and you get a certain amount of hours per month based on your package. And all of the sessions for the membership rooms are 2-hour sessions. So we wanted to keep them short and sweet because, a lot of people work regular jobs. So if it's a Tuesday or Wednesday night, you can come work, a couple hours and, get out all your ideas. And all the rooms, are acoustically treated. All the gear is already in the rooms. Like I can flip this over and you can see real quick. This is one of the project rooms right here.
Nice.
So this room right here is the art gallery, but it's a recording studio. And you got iMac fully loaded with software, speakers. You got actually that's an SM7B right over there too.
Yeah. And
you got a MIDI keyboard, 49 key MIDI keyboard. So we set everything up for success. It's just like a gym. It's got everything you need to be successful. And you just pay $75 is our base package, and then you have the $275 a month. And what's really dope is, and that was for 16 hours. So the first package for 4 hours, and you got 16 hours.
Okay.
And then you have an 8-hour in the middle, which is $150.
Yeah, so, that's awesome. And you have, how many rooms do you have there?
Yeah, so we have technically 4 studios, but we got 5 rooms, including a live room.
Okay.
But the live room is tethered to the main control room. That's the only room we're in like a traditional studio. So
you you could bring the band in and do a full band, full mix live.
Oh
live
yeah,
recording.
we've already done some full band stuff. We actually got a big jam session tonight, just to kind of test some more of our processes, because I partnered with a friend of mine by the name of Jess, and she does she's got a media company called Live in the Wild, and she does all of our AV, all of our video. And we have live streaming capabilities, and we've got a YouTube series we're starting called Grindhaus Sessions.
Cool.
And so that's going to highlight. I love to even have you come perform a set. We're looking to showcase some of Charlotte's finest artists. I know you have a Rolodex of artists, so I need to get with you on some great artists.
Yeah. That sounds awesome. And I mean, we can kind of like we talked about earlier with Daily and these different worlds colliding finally here in Charlotte has been really awesome, because I've made so many cool connections like yourself, and seeing all the different people doing the different things is really cool. And so I'd be more than happy to work with you on that stuff. But well, let's talk a little bit about your music. So you haven't really been doing anything in 2020. It feels like we're still there, but what's next on the docket from the music side for you?
Yeah. Well, so I have a whole album that's been done since 2019.
Okay.
And so it's been really cool to see that when I created it with a specific intention in mind. And I didn't want to make an album that felt I didn't want it to feel like a love album, like an R&B, crooning type album. And I think R&B singers just kind of feel like they're forced to make that. I wanted to make something that had a little bit of everything, and different kinds of subject matter. So even the single that we dropped last year called Numb, that was not even supposed to be released. That was on the album. But it's just a whole different subject matter. So now that, I have this album done, I did it in my house pre-studio. So I'm just going to go back and revisit it, and tighten up mixes, get it to the industry standard, because I know it's close, but now that I have acoustically treated rooms, I can dial it in quicker.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah. I mean, and to your point, you mentioned a minute ago that the brand of Jason Jett has no doubt grown a little bit from just, from Grindhaus taking off like it has, at least from the connections and some of that. So I'm stoked to hear that. And you mentioned a word, the intention behind it, and that's something I think I read on one of your other interviews. I was kind of trying to study up on you a little bit, and I think that I think it's fair to say that like intention is something that you've taken very seriously throughout your career in many different angles, and that's something that I can appreciate, because kind of the journey I'm on right now, not just musically, but really in 2020, I've started this whole meditation program, and like
lovely,
living with more intention and trying to kind of carry those things, those little nuggets of religion, spirituality, whatever you want to call it, that you come out of meditation with, but throughout the rest of your day to day. And so intention is something I think that's super important for living life, let alone for any type of creative projects. But it's been really, really cool to kind of start to do that research on you. And so what are your thoughts on maybe how intention has played an important role in not just Grindhaus or not just your music, but maybe in life in general for you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man, it's very interesting, man, because I had a season in life in my early, well, I say not early, but like mid to late 20s, where I just really just dived deep into like self, you know what I mean, like growing myself and building confidence and just discovery, and that whole season just taught me about how do you make every moment count, and how do you live, to be intentional. So I think that season really helped me establish that foundation of at least, no one's perfect, but at least striving for, excellence. And then, if I'm gonna do something, doing it, with my whole heart, and having a life where you got a family, and now I have a family, wife and kids now. And it's like, man, it's like less opportunities in life to drop the ball.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I got to make everything count, or else I'm like wasting time, because, I could be spending that time at home with my family, and making other, moments count too. But, just trying to find that balance. And making sure everything that I'm doing leads up to a successful, I guess, ending.
Yeah. No, that's dope. And speaking of family, did you
Yeah,
recently, are y'all expecting another little one coming
yeah,
soon? All right.
man.
Yeah. Congrats on that. That's exciting stuff. You got all kinds of growth happening over there in the world of Jason Jet.
Yeah, man, we do.
Well, cool. Well, let's, intention is a good opportunity for me to segue into kind of segment 2 of this show, which is where I
Mhm.
share some quotes or lyrics or what have you with my guest, and then we just unpack them a little bit. And I gave you a little bit of heads up. I know we threw this interview together somewhat quickly, so you hadn't had a lot of time to really marinate on all of this. But
Mhm.
let's start with a Stevie Wonder quote because I'd love to get your take on it. And
Yeah.
I won't go into too much detail of the context of the conversation, but it was an interview that Oprah had with Stevie, and they were talking about, I think it was the time of when the interview was taking place, and she was talking a little bit about music and
Mm.
maybe the age range and people are at. And anyways, it's more about this one or two lines that really stuck out to me, and what Stevie said was, music at its essence is what gives us memories, and the longer a
Mm.
song has existed in our lives, the more memories we have of it and from it. Which was just really, I don't know why that one stuck out to me. I think part of it is because I feel like you just mentioned it, trying to live in the moment but make every moment count, but at the same time realizing that every moment, with the intention that we put into each moment, is really
Mhm.
creating the memories that we want to have and will and impact us moving forward. But what are your thoughts on that? How do you take that, and what kind of, maybe how do you tie music to memories within your life and all you've been doing lately?
Yeah, I think that's a powerful, powerful statement, man. Because there's specific songs that even for example, like the first song that I ever did that I felt very confident about, and I remember playing it for my friends the first time, and they just went crazy. And it was the first song that ever got on radio, and it was the first song that I created my album named after Love Boulevard, and it got me doing a lot of things in the industry very fast. Um, and then fast forward years later, and being able to still play that song, or even like a client now actually asked to cover the song. So I'm literally like, I before we got on this call, I'm mixing the vocals to a cover of my song
Nice.
that he felt honored to sing. And I'm like, dude, I didn't ask for this, but it just knowing how powerful music can be, to where it makes my life, it makes, I don't know, it's a reflection of my life, and but at the same time, it's on, like it humbles me. It's very humbling. And there's moments where certain songs, you just feel them different because of situations. And
Yeah.
I think that's very dope too, man, because I remember one point where there were times, if I could think of certain situations and relationships, that certain songs would be playing mostly in those moments, and then I'd find myself in similar situations, or in a down period, or even if it's a happy period, where that same song would kind of be like the I guess you could say the soundtrack for my life. And
Yeah.
it's very interesting.
Yeah, it's when talking about some of the meditation practice, and I'm actually getting certified to teach meditation, which is, I'm super
Congrats.
excited because I found like a lot of benefits from it, and I want to share that. But
Mhm.
um yeah, it's, I'm doing it through this program through Deepak Chopra's organization, and he was talking about how, if you think about how our minds just go, so 6 to 8 thousand thoughts a day, but a lot of
Yeah.
times you might hear that one song that reminds you of that one girlfriend or boyfriend or whatever from
Exactly.
previous years, and then all of a sudden it's just like a snowball effect of all these thoughts. So
Hmm.
and I think that goes both ways. I mean, as a musician and songwriter myself, like, there's been other people's music that has such an emotional impact on me, and I can't always put my finger on it, but at the same time, those people out there that aren't necessarily creatives in the sense that you and I may be, but the way that our music could impact them, and we don't even know the way that that's happening, so that's really cool. um,
Yeah, it's so true.
well, to go on to the next one, I actually pulled some of your lyrics from Numb, which was
Oh
the
man.
single, yeah, the single you released last year. So I'd listened to some of your stuff, a few different songs on Spotify, to
Yeah.
really try to get a feel for you, and some of your tunes, and I love all the stuff, and I think, across your catalog that you have out there, I mean, it's you've got your own brand, but I think there's also I took it as there's a good bit of diversity within the types of music, like you're saying. So I wouldn't like pigeonhole you as that R&B guy that you were saying or anything, but I was reading I think it was Charlotte's Creative article or something that was written, and that's where I got to really read the lyrics. Sometimes there's you can take it differently when you read than just hearing the lyrics.
Right.
But that verse 2, which is, where do we go when the things hit the fan? When the ceiling's low, we all got to take a stand. Our mothers count on us, and the kids do too, and yet we're still alive with so much love to use. Black man, yeah, we're living in a world where we can't pretend we're innocent, and the media's agenda to portray us as a feminine. Where did all our power go? Was it when they took our soul? Or when they handed us the Bible. Sorry, I went to the next page where I have my notes written there.
Oh, you good.
So the first part of that, the first, I guess, phrase or section, where do we go when things hit the fan? When the ceiling's low, we all got to take a stand. Our mothers count on us, and the kids do too, and yet we're still alive and so much love to use. I love that, man, because I think what the world needs more of is really utilizing love and like us all living within love and sharing love a little bit more. But what really stood out to me is that our mothers count on us and the kids do too. Like, that is so true in the sense that as folks age, there's so much that they need from folks like our parents, our grandparents, all of them need us. But also the intentional moments and the intentional actions that we're taking now are very much going to impact our kids, grandkids, and generations to come. So yes. It was really cool to read that. But if you don't mind sharing, sometimes songwriters don't really like to get too much into it. But tell me.
I love to share.
Yeah, tell me about that.
Yeah, so, well, when I wrote this song, man, like this was, I remember specifically writing it, and it was for the album because I had all these records. I was like, man, the album's missing something, and look from a lyrical standpoint, and I wanted to speak about something so, not political, but more something human. I wanted to get down on the human level and speak about something that a singer no one ever talks about. And I wanted to talk about Black men, like Black fathers. And I think it's so rare to see a songwriter talk about, at least a singer. You hear rappers talk about fathers from time to time, but a singer actually singing about, Black men in the world and our perspectives and what we have to do to have a voice, and that was really where I wrote that line from. So that whole verse was about us as Black men standing together to not be what the media wants us to be, not for us to be unruly and crazy, and to show them that, hey man, like there's real good men out here, like good Black men that know how to treat women and know how to raise families. They're out here.
Yeah.
So
true. Yeah. I mean, obviously in the times we're living in and there's just, the media is kind of takes a lot of things out of context depending on which media source you're kind of looking at.
Absolutely.
And I think it's, not only did you do a great job of articulating that within your song, but looking from the outside in, and I don't know you that well, but it sure as hell seems like you're living those words, and you are the man you're talking about there. And I think
appreciate it, man.
Yeah, for sure. I'm sure a lot of people look up to you for that. So well, that's cool. Well, thanks for indulging in that and letting me kind of pick your brain a little bit. And I know you got a busy schedule, so we'll keep this a little bit tighter on the timeline here. But I don't know if you have a chance or had a chance to really look at this, but with segment 3, I always talk a little bit about, or allow my guests to talk about, any organizations, can be nonprofit, can just be businesses that are doing cool things in the community these days, can be social justice issues, it can be all types of things. But are there any organizations or brands that come to mind that maybe have made an impact either in your life or that you really love the impact that they're making on their communities that you want to just highlight and maybe shine a little light on?
Yeah, so I love communities and schools. What they're doing is fantastic. I actually had a chance last week to jump on a Zoom with their organization and their some of their students that they work with. and basically their job is to, provide opportunities and education, that some kids don't have access to. So upward mobility, because that seems to be a common issue in Charlotte with schools. So, that organization is doing their part with partnering with community leaders and the youth to make sure that youth are, doing what they need and getting what they need to have access to the resources for jobs and careers. So that's one organization. I also have my own company, nonprofit started, Young Icons. So that's a initiative where we put youth in the recording studios and give them opportunities to express who they are through music and recording.
That's
and
dope.
So we're on our 5th year now.
I forgot about that. Yeah, that slipped my mind completely, but I remember seeing a post or something that you had shared a while back about that. So, and is that working specifically with schools, or where do you kind of access those youth and bring them into that program?
Yeah, so typically we've just put it out there on social media and, people sign up. But now, so before we didn't operate as a nonprofit, but now we are. So we're, actually currently seeking, grants and sponsorships. So that way we can facilitate, they subsidize the cost so we can really attract more kids that just don't have access. That not everyone can pay for it. So we want to be able to, and then that's really where the real talent is too, a lot of times, right? Yeah. Like those kids that, they don't have a shot, but they got the voice.
Yeah. Super, super raw talent because they haven't had access or money to go to really develop it per se. And, well, that's cool. I'm sure that it's going to, at some point in time, there's going to be this like all coming together of Grindhaus and Young Icons that really kind of pull all that together. And you're building out your own resources to be able to really make those programs even go further. So that's dope, man.
That's the goal.
Well, cool, man. Well, I don't want to take up too much of your time. As we mentioned, you are a busy man and you got a lot going on with the new studio. So thanks so much for indulging, man, and spending a few with me. And hopefully it won't be too long before we'll actually be able to see each other in person again. And I'll come by and check out that studio, man.
Come on, man. You just let me know. You got my info, so just come on through whenever you're ready.
Yeah, so tell everybody best place to find you online. I'll put all the stuff in the show notes, but in case somebody's driving their car and want to try and make a mental note, social handles, website, where do you want to send people?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can learn more about the studio at grindhausstudios.com. Grindhaus is spelled Haus like in German. And grindhausstudios.com, and then IG, Grindhaus Studios. You can follow me as well at Jason Jet, and that's Jet with one T. Everybody puts 2 T's for some reason.
Yeah, that don't make any sense. But
no.
Cool. Yeah, like I said, I'll include all that stuff in the show notes. But yeah, thanks again, listeners. Thank you for tuning in. Please go follow Jason. Go follow Grindhaus. Check it out if you're a musician or aspiring songwriter and want to get into some studio work and at least just test the waters and work some stuff out. I'm sure that's a great spot to do it. So let's go check them out. But thanks for tuning in. Join us next Friday for another episode, and we'll see you on the flip side. Thanks, everybody. Cheers.